Good evening and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Monique Citron.
And I'm Bill Littauer, and these are some of our top stories. The village of Mamaroneck and the town battle over a huge property tax increase.
The village of Mamaroneck sues its own zoning board.
Can the karate instructor get his sex abuse verdict overturned?
A condo sues for a big tax refund and wins. Those stories and more coming up.
First, the town of Mamaroneck and the village of Mamaroneck are at loggerheads over a proposed property tax increase. The town board has proposed a $13.7 million budget for next year, a $747,000 increase. To generate the revenues to fund the budget, it would raise town taxes by 6.8%, but it would raise taxes for Larchmont and Mamaroneck village residents by 53%. That drew a charge from Village Mayor Paul Noto that the town is trying to shift its tax burden onto village property owners. The Mamaroneck Village Board voted unanimously to demand the town roll back the proposed increase. LMC reporter Bruce Wiener discussed the issue with board member Kathleen Tracy O'Flynn.
Well, some of the village residents are concerned because they've heard that there's a substantial increase in taxes. Right now it stands at 47% as opposed to the town residents where there's a predicted 6.9% increase in taxes. Percentages, however, are not meaningful. I think what you have to really look at is the dollar value. For instance, the average home in the village or the town is assessed at $20,000. The increase for that average home amounts to $53 for the whole year, whereas the increase for the town resident is $153 for the year. So even though the percentages are different in terms of dollars, there's a substantial difference too, and it's substantially lower for the village residents.
Well, what's the next step? How is that going to be resolved, or what's in store?
There will be a budget hearing this Wednesday evening at our regularly scheduled town council meeting, and it's a budget hearing that's open to the public. Residents can come and air their views, and the town council will be more than happy to explain the budget in all detail.
Can you tell us about last week's meeting? What went on at the town council meeting last week?
Well, we had some news at the last meeting concerning one of our present town council members, Steve Chapin, who has been a fine representative. He unfortunately has to resign. He has taken on a new position with the bank, and he feels that his family responsibilities and his new responsibilities with his employment are just too great right now so that he can handle that position.
What will happen to his seat?
Well, we will appoint a new town council person who will then have to run for re-election next November.
The village of Mamaroneck, already hard-pressed to keep up its property tax revenues, now has to hand out a big tax refund. The Palmer Terrace Cooperative at 320 Palmer Terrace won its case against the village on tax overcharges for the years 1987, 88, 89, and 90. Village Assessor Lloyd Wright says the village will have to pay more than $40,000 in refunds, plus 9% interest just for the years 1987 and 88. Both sides are working on a settlement for the other 2 years. The town of Mamaroneck will also have to come up with a refund because of the case, but officials say the town tax refund won't be anywhere near as large.
Now with this week's environmental report, here's LMC reporter Greg Fetterbush.
Two interesting environmental notes this week. If the state legislature fails to approve a change in the county sales tax, Westchester will have to eliminate the curator's post at the Edith G. Reed Wildlife Sanctuary in Rye, stopping all the programs open to the public. This will take place January 1st. Friends of the Edith G. Reed Wildlife Sanctuary, a 75-member organization, have written letters to legislators and encourage others to write to prevent the county from cutting the curator's post. On July 1st, if the sales tax measure is not approved, the curator's position at the Marshlands Conservancy in Rye will also be eliminated. And New York Power Authority is awarding $1.2 million in grants to communities and groups around the Long Island Sound, where they're putting in a 26-mile electric transmission cable. $100,000 of that money is going to groups involved in Long Island Sound issues. The Federated Conservationists of Westchester and the Long Island Sound Task Force will get $22,000, which they're going to use to create a $50,000 manual that citizens can use to monitor water quality. Funds for this pollution monitoring manual will come from other groups as well. Distribution should be early in 1992. Take care.
A landmark decision to protect wives from rape by their husbands. Rita Blockton spoke to DA Jeanine Pirro.
And the fact that it was a Mamaroneck man who abused his wife in this landmark case led us to speak with Jeanine Pirro, who is the bureau chief and supervisor on that case.
5 or 10 years ago, this was not a crime. And in fact, 12 years ago in New York State, if a man shot, stabbed, beat, or brutalized his wife, it was not a criminal act. He could not be put in jail. He could not be made to answer for that. And it's only recently that we said that wives who are, in fact, victimized by their husbands have access in the criminal justice system. So this is all new. And the sexual component, where a husband can be prosecuted for sexually abusing his wife in the right scenario, and it must be a forcible sexual abuse. And I want to be perfectly clear on that. We're talking about actions that are clearly criminal in nature. But it wasn't until 5 years ago that this was even a possibility for prosecution. So we have certainly set a trend here.
Now for our school news report, here's Monique with School Superintendent Norman Kolb.
There's been an implication about the Hummock's school situation. Perhaps you can clarify it. It wasn't a recommendation?
I think you're referring to last night's local news story. No, the committee, wonderful committee of 20 citizens and staff, scrupulously avoided making any recommendation about what to do with our enrollment increase. They analyzed the advantages and disadvantages of 3 options. No recommendation has been made. There's going to be further study by the school board, and then starting in about mid-January and running for at least a couple of months, the board will be deliberating the options. That news headline was terrifically misleading.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Then what about the proposed budget cuts from the state? Is that also misleading?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of a cottage industry now, trying to figure out what the governor is trying to do. Just a couple of facts. The governor has proposed that our state aid for the current school year be reduced about just under $800,000. And for reasons that we don't have time to go into here, that's really just devastating.
It's about 14%, I understand.
It would be about 15% of the state aid. The point to be made is that we have obligated almost all of the money. And there isn't that kind of slack in the budget.
Then what now? What are we going to do?
Well, we've got a real problem. And I've been encouraging friends of education to make their views known, that it may be that schools need to learn to do with less money. I can certainly respect it.
But you're not planning on cutting staff.
Wouldn't think about cutting staff. And I appreciate the question, because I want to assure people that whatever it is we have to do, we're not going to reorganize schools or cut in to the normal operation. If we have to find the money, we will find the money.
The Larchmont karate instructor convicted of sexually abusing 3 teenage girls is trying to have the verdict overturned. Lawyers for Omar Gonzalez filed a motion charging that one of the jurors was prejudiced against him. They say the juror discussed the case with a friend before the trial, and that the juror knew his friend was acquainted with one of the witnesses in the case. Gonzalez's lawyers say the juror did not disclose before trial that he had prior knowledge of the case. Gonzalez is being held in jail, but his sentencing has been postponed.
December 15th is traditional end to leaf pickup in this area, but not so this year with the late fall and leaves clinging to the branches. Homeowners will have at least until the first of the year to rake their leaves curbside. After that, well, authorities warn you may have to bag them.
This fall season was a disaster for all the gardeners. Plus, the city hasn't been picking it up fast enough. They need a little bit more help. Thank you.
Students in the forensic science class in Mamaroneck High School got some insight into the real world recently. Joseph Butler, a criminal investigator for the Westchester District Attorney's Office, spoke to them. Butler has been a specialist in arson investigation, and he told the class how fires are evaluated to determine if they were caused by arson and how evidence is gathered and evaluated.
Just in time for the Christmas holidays, the Larchmont Post Office has expanded its hours to include Sunday from 10 to 1. In fact, it's the only post office in Westchester Westchester to offer this helpful service. So pack up that gift to Aunt Molly and write out those cards.
The village of Mamaroneck is in the unusual position of filing suit against its own zoning board. By a vote of 3-2, the Board of Trustees decided to join a lawsuit against the variance granted for the Continental View condominium project. The 44-unit project on the Boston Post Road would have a 2-story parking facility and swimming pool. The Stewart Avenue Neighborhood Association opposes the project, charging it would destroy the Guyan Creek wetlands. The Coastal Zone Management Commission has also recommended the project be rejected.
If you use the parking meters at Mamaroneck Town's parking lot number 1 on Myrtle Avenue, you now need a permit. Starting December 1st, in addition to the 25-cent per 2-hour charge, residents are required to pay $10 per year and non-residents $100. For more information, call Town Clerk Pat DiCiaccio at 381-2950.
It's here on the Post Road. It's got film buffs in ecstasy. A visit to the new Blockbuster video store with Barbara Brown.
After 3 weeks of renovation, Blockbuster Video took Larchmont and Mamaroneck by storm. They are now ready for business. They have an incredible selection and lots of copies of the same movies. I spoke with Michelle Collier, the manager. Michelle, could you tell us something about the store?
Well, the store holds over 10,000 tapes for rental and 1,200 for sale. We can get a customer just about any tape that they want for sale if we don't have it in the store.
I see that you have a really terrific variety of all sorts of things here. I saw some National Geographic. Would you like to tell us something about the different variety of things?
Yes, the store is broken down into categories. It's very simple to find a video. You just go to the category that you're interested in: drama, classic, vintage TV, musicals, music videos, etc., the new release wall. And then it's broken down alphabetically, so it's very easy to find a tape. Unlike other video stores, we have more tapes to offer. We have on our new release wall 73 copies of Pretty Woman, 54 copies of Hunt for Red October, 63 copies of Total Recall. We get more films than any other video store. We are bigger. This store is 6,000 square feet, and we do have over 10,000 videos for rent. We have a 2-day, 3-evening rental policy. The day that you rent is day 1, and they're due back midnight of day 3. And the majority of the videos are $350. On Saturday, December 8th, we're going to have a grand opening party here, and we're going to have RoboCop come from 1 till 3 o'clock, and the Care Bears will be here from 2 to 4, and the Blockbuster Kids will come from 2 to 4. It's a big celebration. Anyone that signs up that day gets a free Blockbuster t-shirt and gets their picture taken with RoboCop, and it's just a big, fun celebration, a party.
Does planning a wedding give you jitters? Now there's a book that has everything down pat and can make it a lot easier. Rita Blockton has that interview.
Peggy, I am so impressed with what you've put together. I always love when somebody does something very special and unusual and gets away with it. And you have made a wedding organizer, which I understand is just the rage and fantastic. Could you tell us what made you do it? What's it all about?
I hope you're right, number 1. And number 2, my daughter had a wedding a year ago, June. And we went to look for an organizer after she worked out of a large manila envelope for a while, and I just couldn't stand the shuffling, and I said, it's not going to work. So we went to look for them, and I didn't like what was out there with a small, scrunchy. So we went home and made our own, and I said to them, when I'm finished, I'm taking it on the road, and I did.
Fantastic. So you've decided to publish it yourself, not to have a publisher?
I published it, found a printer, and I'm marketing it myself.
That is a big undertaking, isn't it?
It's changed my life.
I can imagine. And here we have Sissy Keogh, the mother of a bride.
Right.
How has this...
It's been a lifesaver. I have to tell you, I was at a shower for my daughter, and someone told me about this. I had all my stuff in a sail bag. Really, and I couldn't find things, and a friend of mine said, you've got to go. I went to Anderson's. I bought it, and now it is my constant companion. I go everywhere with it.
I can't believe how thick it is. What have you got in there?
I am 2 weeks away now, so I have everything. My lists, my tablecloths, which I won't show you, but everything is in there. And it's marvelous. I don't know what I'll do when it's all over. I'll miss it.
What's your next invention?
Well, I'm staying with this for all. I'm marketing it to hotels, to gift stores, direct mail, catalogs. But someone has suggested that I do the bar mitzvah and the bat mitzvah and just change the cover and change a few pages.
Wonderful.
But right now I have quite a few to get rid of. So
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And that's our report for now. If you'd like to see how we produce this newscast each week or join in the fun, come on over any Thursday evening about 7 o'clock. We're in the Mamaroneck High School television studio in the Palmer Avenue building, just up the hill from Walter's Hot Dogs. I'm Bill Littauer.
And I'm Monique Citron. Until next week.
Okay, are you ready? Quiet on the set.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Roger Norham.
And I'm Monique Citron, and we're really not here, are we, Roger?
Well, it's a matter of the Thanksgiving holiday has closed the LMC-TV studios, so it's also sort of closed down the LMC-TV news show for just 1 week. But we'll see you again next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Roger Norham.
And I'm Monique Citron. And why are we repeating this encore presentation?
Well, last week was Thanksgiving, and it's caused the LMC-TV studios to be closed down. It also meant that we could not record an LMC-TV news program. So just for you news junkies, we're going to have an encore presentation of LMC News.
Hope you enjoy it. See you next week.
And if you got tired enough watching week-old news, you'll see a brand new news program on LMC-TV this coming week.